everybody, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Saturday, August 29th of the year 2020, and this is my 34th FlossTube. So, as always, I want to welcome you all to Alma's Little Wonders. Welcome back to all of you returning viewers and subscribers. Thank you, as ever, for your continuing support. And I also want to welcome anybody that's here for the first time. Amazingly enough, I still get new subscribers, so I know that there's always someone new, right? So I want to welcome you all. I want to thank you for giving me a chance, and I hope that you like what you see, and you find a reason to stay, to come back, and yeah, subscribe if you feel like it. I hope you feel like it, and yeah, just, you know, see what madness I'm up to every week. I was pretty busy this week. If you do follow my channel already, then you'll have seen that I filmed my first Stitch with Me this week, which was a lot of fun. Once, you know, I figured out the mechanics of it, I typically stitch. I typically stitch with Q-snaps, and it was just too cumbersome. One thing I kind of thought about was maybe using a smaller one, because I was trying to use the big one, the, what is that, 10 by 10, 11 by 11, the big one, one of the bigger ones, and it was just hard to handle while having the camera pretty much like right in my face. So I thought, well, maybe next time I'll do a smaller Q-snap. But I just ended up stitching in hand so that I didn't even have to worry about bumping the camera or anything like that. But anyways, it was a really nice experience. I got lots of good feedback, lots of people wanting to know when the next one was going to be. And the answer is, I don't know. I would like to make them a regular thing, because again, I did enjoy them. But school does start back up Tuesday. So that's definitely gonna cut down my stitching and recording time. So we'll see. I'll definitely film them whenever I can. But besides that, as ever, I did keep on stitching, as always. So without further ado, let's get to the stitching. After I filmed my video on Saturday, I decided to go ahead and pick up one of my newer pieces, I guess. I started it this year. I started on January 1st. This is Bilbo's Home by Mandarin's Designs. And when I started it this year, I was hoping to finish it by the end of the year. I think I can still do it. I have high hopes. This is what I've done so far. So what I focused on, I think I put in like maybe 500 stitches over the weekend. My parents came over, so I didn't have quite as much stitching time as I normally do. But I focused on these hills on this side. So last time I did this side, so I decided it was time to start doing the rest. And as I mentioned, when I pulled this out, I think it was last week, or the week before, most of the stitching here on the bottom is half stitched, so that's why I think I can still finish it in time, because I know that this bottom half is gonna go pretty quick. But we'll see. You can actually kind of tell this is going to be Bilbo right here. This is the head. But yeah, I've always loved stitching on this. Again, she does amazing work with her colors. But I also have to do all the detailing, all the back stitching and detailing. So we'll see. We'll see if I can do it. If I can get it done. I hope so. After that though, I did go ahead and start with the homework. Once Monday rolled around and the homework was released for all my groups, trying to get myself settled here. But so I started up with Cinderella. This is a Tilted Crafts chart based on Daniel Kordick's design, and I started this I think at the end of July. I'm pretty sure it was the end of July. I started a lot of things in July. I got bitten by the startitis, and I just started a ton of stuff. But I actually used her for penalty stitches. The prompt was to work on something that had flowers in it, or no, a flower pot. Yeah, that's what we needed to do. So I have a dimensions kit with the mason jars, the flower mason jars lineup, but I didn't know if that was going to count, so I just decided to, I mean, I felt like stitching on this anyways. And I also used it for an enchanted stitching challenge where we had to work on something, a WIP that had to do with family pushing somebody around, because the main character, well, one of the main characters, Prince, we're watching Princess and the Frog. So Prince Naveen's servant, the reason why he decides to make a deal with Dr. Facilier is because he starts telling him like, hey, you were pushed around by your family when you were younger, now you're being pushed around by Prince Naveen, and if you were married, you would also be pushed around by your spouse. So for the pushed around by your family, I picked up Cinderella because, you know, her stepmom and her stepmother and her stepsisters do nothing but push her around. So this is what I have so far. I want to say I did like 1,000 stitches on her because I kept going after I finished the homework tasks, which was only like 300 stitches. So I finished up I'm trying to do this color by color, so I finished the blue that I was currently working on, and then I started a third color, and that blue actually goes all the way to the other side of the design, like it goes all the way to this side, to this corner. So I don't know, I kind of want to do it. I kind of want to go ahead and finish up that color, at least in that corner or in that edge, but I don't know. I also kind of want to keep going on this side, but we'll see. I may just go ahead and do something a little bit different and go to the other end, even though that's going to require a little bit more counting. But that was that for those prompts, and I think I'm gonna be able to pick her up again this week. I'm not quite sure. Next prompt we had for again, I double dipped like crazy this week. So for magical stitches, we had a prompt where we had to work with a night scene, because that's in reference to Tangled. When she wants, you know, Rapunzel, all she wants to do is see the lanterns in the sky. So we had to do something that had to do with a night scene. And then for enchanted stitching, we needed to work on something that had to do with the Mardi Gras colors, so green, gold, or purple. So I picked up my Fane, I call her the Fane Fairy, right? Because the artwork is by Julie Fane. This is Mini Midnight Stroll, and this is a chart by Heaven and Earth Designs. So I picked her up for both of the prompts, so I could go ahead and double dip. And I ended up getting quite a bit done. Well, I mean, quite a bit. I think the prompt was like well, I do it by time in enchanted stitching challenges, but I think the prompt for magical stitches was only 200 stitches this week, but I still did more because I finished up the pink that I was doing here at the bottom, and so once I finished that pink, that's when I started counting times and stitches, and that's when I started. So it's kind of hard to see, but the purple starts all the way on the inside and then it goes out here, and then you have to, you know, it's the same thing, it's the same outline of the tree. So yeah, so I did quite a bit on that one. Again, I'm thinking maybe 250 stitches. So I will go ahead and keep working on her. I'm nowhere near where I thought I was going to be. Originally wanted to hit 25,000 stitches by the end of the year. In order to do that though, I would have to stitch 4,000 stitches each month from now until like September until the end of the year. So actually not even, now it's 5,000 stitches because I haven't worked on it as much. But that was that. And then once I stitched on her, I moved on to the next prompt, which was to work on something that the WIP that's gone the longest without any progress. So I pulled up my Disney Villains piece, and this is I think the last time I worked on this one was back in May or April. It's been a long time, so I knew that this was definitely a contender, because I have a spreadsheet where I keep track of when I work on stuff and how much I put into them. So all I had to do was go back to my spreadsheet, and that's when I realized that this had gone a long time without any progress. So I pulled it up for that one, and this is what I've done so far. And I also double dipped this with the monthly prompt on enchanted stitching, where again you're being pushed around by your family, which was Cinderella, being pushed around by Prince Naveen, so royalty. So I picked her because she's a queen, so if Lawrence was working with her, she would also push him around. So yeah, so I put in, I want to say 300, for this one I did the penalty stitches, for, even though like it matched the prompt, I still wanted to get more done, so I did 300 stitches on her, so that I could also match the enchanted stitching challenge prompt, which was 300 stitches. But pretty much I focused on the pink tones on her skin, and then I gave her the, you know, the cheekbone contour, I guess, shading. And then slowly but surely I also added to the grays and the dark colors over here on her, the outline for the silhouette. So yeah, so she got 300 stitches put in. She's also going to come out again because Full Coverage Fanatics is doing an event next weekend. They're calling it Confetti Conquistadors. So you don't have to count stitches, it's just strictly stitching for the sake of stitching, and you had to pick a piece that was confetti heavy. So it's kind of to encourage you to tackle those difficult confetti areas. So for me, that's all this is gonna be. I mean, you can already see just from the way that she's taking form, it's a lot of confetti. So yeah, so she her eyes are mostly confetti, and the mouth as well. So yeah, so she's going to be coming back out. She's actually a fan favorite. I posted her on the progress pic on Instagram, and I got a ton of people like, she's back. So yeah, so I hit 7,000 stitches on this one. the first frame is 16,000 stitches. It's actually less. Yeah, I've stitched less. The reason I say I've stitched the 7,000 is because you see the entire thing has a border going around it, and I marked off this side of the border already, even though I haven't done it yet, because I won't do it until I finish Ursula. I'm pretty sure Ursula's the one that's next. Yeah. So once I finish Ursula on this side, that's when I'm going to add the border on this side, because I just don't want to add the black border, because black tends to bleed into other colors a lot. So I thought the less of it I have to deal with, the better. And I still have a ton, not a ton, but her dress still goes over on this, like on the bottom. So I haven't reached the bottom quite yet, obviously. But yeah, she's gonna be coming back out soon. So you'll see her. Well, you won't see her. You won't see her this coming video. You'll see her the following. Actually, you may, because I'm gonna start working. The event goes on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you may see her a little bit. I don't know. It depends on how much I get done on Friday. Like, I did 20 stitches. We'll see. We'll see. I may just go ahead and hold off on showing you guys until afterwards. Because I will be counting, like, even though we're not required to, I will count my stitches so that I can use it for homework tasks or just group tasks or something. I did promise you guys I finished last time. And you know, if you see the title of this video, then you know that I have a finish. Again, it's not a surprise. So, and if you've seen my Instagram, then you've seen this already. But here it is in all its glory. This is a Rick and Morty pattern by Oh My Stitches Shop, and yeah, I actually just finished this yesterday. Yesterday was Friday, yeah, so I just finished this yesterday. Those suction cups on the tentacles were hard. I had to split the Ada, like, just because of the shape. They're more like circles than anything else, so I had to split the Ada to get them done. Which I was like, it wasn't until later that I was like, maybe I could have just done them as squares, like, instead of having to struggle with splitting the Ada it was literally every single time. It was just not, there was no escaping it. But yeah, I did it on 14 count Ada that I had in my stash, and I used 2 of the called for colors. The darker shades of green were the called for because they were the ones that were used the most besides the black. But everything else was something that I had in my stash. I just kind of matched whatever colors were called for to what I had in my stash. So I really enjoyed working on this. I think I do have a Baby Yoda pattern from her, so I kind of want to start it. But we'll see. In the meantime, this is ready. I just have to iron it, and it turns out we are gonna go see the birthday boy for his birthday. So my boyfriend was so funny because I did post it on Instagram, and so he was like, "You don't have him on Instagram, right? Like, you don't follow each other?" So I'm like, "No, he's not," and I don't see why we would. Like, I don't think he would, because I mean, she's not into cross stitching, so. but yeah, he was just concerned that he might see this before next week, which again, I don't think will happen. But yeah, I just have to frame it, iron it, and frame it, and it's ready. Hooray for finishes! So yeah, so I took care of that during the week. Another thing that I caught up on was, as you guys know, I am participating in a few sales now because I wanted some variety in my life. So one of the sales that I'm participating in is the Lakeside Needlecrafts sale, mystery sale called Time to Stitch. The design itself is by Maria Diaz. So I went ahead and I caught up on, oh, the light is not doing this any favors, but I did go ahead and catch up on that one. The first part was this, and then everything else underneath. So this first clock was part 1, and then the second part, which is, again, it was much smaller, thank goodness, was this little guy, and then everything up here. So this second clock was part 2, and the detailings were still tedious. I actually, for the first time, I didn't like, I still minded the gold detailing. You can't really, again, the light is not doing this many favors, but there's detailing on the sides of the clock right here that's in gold. It's just, we just call them squiggles. Because there's a Facebook group for the sales, so everybody in the group just calls them the gold squiggles. It was the clock face, just having those numbers. They were in Roman numerals. They were quite difficult to stitch. But there it is. It's done, and the next part, the third part, comes out on September 1st. So it'll come out on Tuesday. But yeah, I'm doing this on, I don't mind doing this on Ada. This is hand dyed by Fiona from Fiona's Craft Cottage, and it's actually quite soft. So even though a lot of people think that, you know, even weave would have been better, so I can deal with all those details, I don't mind working on this because it's actually pretty soft. And this is a needle minder and frogger by Stitch and Button, Vicky from Stitch and Button. So yeah, so I was happy to get caught up on that one. Again, it was a little bit, you know, last minute, but I really wanted to finish that Rick and Morty piece, so that took precedence over everything else. Yeah, I just, again, as long as I'm on time, I feel okay. Another piece that I worked on a little bit this week was another couple of my Tilton crafts. This is Till Death Do Us Part, and again, pretty much all of my Tilton crafts are Daniel Kordick. I think I only have one right now that's not. I love his art. Like, I'm not remotely sorry. But I used this for the last part of the Enchanted Stitching prompt about being pushed around by the family, pushed around by Prince Naveen, and then, you know, he really teases him and says, if you were married, you would be pushed around by your spouse as well. So I worked on the corpse bride piece because in the movie, Victor's mom pushes his dad around a lot. Like, you can tell she's the mastermind, she's the boss. And he kind of just, you know, he's very meek and yes dear, so super cute, but yeah, I thought it still fit. So I kept going on the squiggles on the border, which again, like, you can't even tell. That's supposed to be blue. You can kind of see the blue tones here in the squiggle. I'm kind of reluctant to do the black until I finish up the squiggle completely because of the fact that it kind of disappears once you add it. So, but that was 300 stitches for the prompt. And I will go ahead and keep going on this because I really like this stitch. pretty much all my Tilton crafts are just really fun stitches. I really enjoy working on them. This one and Cinderella as well. So I'll definitely pick this back up. I originally wanted to go ahead and do the equivalent of a page finish. I wanted to do 8,000 stitches by the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen. But we'll see. And then the last piece that I worked on, which again I worked on yesterday, so after I finished Rick and Morty, I guess it was a little bit out of order, but once I finished Rick and Morty yesterday, I was able to work on something else finally. And I picked up again another Daniel Kordick and Tilton Crafts. This is Snow Girl, and a couple of weeks ago I put up a poll on my Instagram story for people to vote. I asked whether they preferred, or they wanted me to keep going on the background, or if I should start the apple. And two-thirds of the voters wanted me to start the apple. So this is it. I did, like, sorry, but because I was already working on the background a little bit, so and I still have a little bit of black. I just wanted to finish the confetti stitches here, so I decided, okay, I'll keep, you know, picking away at the confetti, but most, if not all, of my stitching went to the apple right here. So yeah, I put in 500 stitches yesterday. Well, yeah, it was yesterday. Excuse me. So the plan is to go ahead and just keep going on some of the reds here, but then also work on the bottom over here, on the lighter colors on the bottom. So yeah, so this one's also really close. I'm using this for a 20 and 20 challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics, and I'm getting close. I'm getting close to finishing that up. I think I have I don't know exactly how many I have left to do, but I know it can be done. That's why I want to keep focusing on it. So yeah, so that was the last thing I worked on, and yeah, things are just moving forward, and we're just, you know, looking forward to next month. So for Full Coverage Fanatics, they did announce they do have the year-long challenge, or every month is a different country. It's around the world challenge. So next month, September, is Norway, and I'll go ahead and work on my moon charmer for that one. And I'm also using this for a surprise, but not so much a surprise, challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics. Every year they do a Tour de France challenge where they just take the kilometers that the actual Tour de France has, and it's just stitch count stitches. So, and there's teams, you know, there's levels according to how many stitches you want to do. I of course want to, you know, you go big or you go home. So I went for the most amount of stitches. I think it's like 3,400. It's 3,000 something. But yeah, so this morning, like literally this morning, they just announced that they were going to cancel it because the Tour de France was going to be canceled. But they just announced this morning they actually are having it. So therefore, Full Coverage Fanatics is having it. So I'm using this WIP as well, because I thought, well, it's already going to be a focus for the Around the World challenge, so I might as well. WIP Go also announced the next numbers for September. So for those, I'm kind of slowly chipping away at the yearly goals. Again, Snow White, the Snow White piece is the first goal I want to get knocked out. I wasn't able to achieve all of the goals that I set myself for August. If you remember, I originally wanted to finish June, reach 10,000 stitches in June, and also finish my Haku piece, because that was the focus for August. For Japan was the country that we visited. I'm still gonna work at it, you know, the next few days. That's going to be my focus for this weekend and on Monday. So I'll still work on it as much as I can, but I know that I'm not gonna be able to finish it by the end of the month. Same thing for June. I'll work on her a little bit, but that's going to be the first thing I do, is I want to go ahead and reach 10,000 stitches, because I just have like 600 to go. I don't have that much, so I shouldn't. I mean I do have a good excuse for not doing it, because I was focusing on Rick and Morty, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, I really wanted to get that out of the way in August, and I wasn't able to. But that's okay, you know. So now I have those 3 focuses. I have Haku, June, and Snow White. I want that goal to be the next thing that I knock off my plate. But yeah, another thing that was announced this morning, besides the full coverage phonetics challenge, was the next part of the Frankenstein challenge. It's a style. This is my copy of the book. So earlier in the month, I forget exactly when she did, but she released the border, which she just called a preview. She just said, this is going to be a very stitch heavy sampler style, so she gave us a chance to stitch on the border first, and then she said the first official part won't be released until the 29th. So I did receive that email, so now we have to read and stitch, which is great. So I look forward to doing that this week, because I know it's gonna be a focus this week. I really wanted that the first part to be released. I mean, as soon as I finished the border, I was like, give me more. And yeah, again, things are wrapping up for August. Enchanted Stitching announced the movie is going to be Inside Out for September, which I'm very excited for. It's one of my favorite movies, so it'll be nice to you know, watch the movie as we stitch. Another thing that's happening this month is Sampler Soiree September, I think is what they're calling it. It's just focus on samplers. So I'll focus, and by focus I mean I'll try to fit it into as many prompts as I can. I'll focus on my 3 Things sampler, the Moira Blackburn design, but I have also decided to, since there's a second event going around called Start That Stuff September, I'll go ahead and start a new sampler. I've always kind of admired the Linen Things mystery style that's going around this year. It was just one of those things where I really liked it, but I wasn't sure. And then a few days ago, I just decided, you know what, why not? It's a really pretty design. I don't think I'll do the initials. I think I'll just I think you can replace that with motifs, from what I've heard. Anyways, I do want to go ahead and start that one, and I do have fabric for it. Yeah, this is a little bit, yeah, it's pretty much true to color. This is a hand dyed by Rolanda fabric, so she doesn't, it doesn't really have a name. She just does one-off pieces. She doesn't necessarily sell the same of, yeah, it's just one of a kind. She doesn't sell them by multiple items, I don't know. But I'll use this with DMC 3808. So I'm like fumbling around here. Here we go. So I think that'll be nice, even because this corner in particular is a little bit on the heavier side in terms of the dye. Here, I'll open up so you can see the entire fabric, which between the lamp and the sunlight is like doing weird stuff. But here we go. That's pretty true to color. It's pretty wild, but I love those tones. And this is the other side. So as you can see, like this side is definitely a lot lighter than this corner right here. But I think it'll look okay. I think it'll look good. And yeah, so I'll go ahead and start that for Sampler September. I don't plan on, obviously, I mean, by the time I started, there'll be 9 parts out already. So, because it's one for every month. So I have no intentions whatsoever of catching up. I'll just stitch at my own pace. It's free, the pattern's free, and it's available on the website. It doesn't go away, so I know I have time. But yeah, those are my plans coming up for the next few weeks. Yeah, I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll see how I can fit my Magical Stitches homework and my Enchanted Stitching homework with like the focus pieces, the ones that I mentioned, Haku, June, and Snow Girl. Although Snow Girl I'm using for Ultimate Stitching Challenge though, so I'm already doing something with that one. But yeah, I really want to knock out those goals before the end of the year. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. That's pretty much all I have to say at the moment. I hope that everybody's safe. My heart goes out to all of the people that have been affected by the tropical storms and the hurricanes that hit Louisiana and Texas. Or did it hit Texas? I'm not quite sure anymore, but I know that plenty of people have been affected, so I wanted to let you know that you're in my prayers, you're in my thoughts and prayers. And yeah, I hope that everybody's still, being cautious, taking precautions, and I hope that you guys have a nice weekend, a productive week, and that you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. So until next time, bye guys.